I'm Carol Sherrick. I'm the Executive Director of Career and Professional Development in the College of Social and Behavioral Sciences here at UMass. Many of our students have double majors. We have students in some of the programs that you'll hear about from other colleges and other majors. So I'm going to be running the slideshow. I'm going to turn it over to Diane.
Thank you. Hey everybody. Can you hear me okay? I'm Diane Curtis. I'm the Director of Pre-Law Advising for the whole university. So just to underscore what Carol just said, I see people headed to law school from pretty much every major on campus. So you really don't need to be an SBS in order to pursue careers in government, public service, and law. But it does happen to be that we've got a number of fantastic students here who are in that college, and most of the things that they're going to talk about are open to everybody. There's a couple that are just for students in SBS, so I just want to highlight that. But I also want to stop talking because our students are really the best salespeople for all that we have to offer here at UMass. So we've got Daniel, Linda, Juan, Jenny Lynn, and Jill that are here today. I'm going to ask each of them to introduce themselves and say a little bit about what they've taken advantage of here in order to pursue their interests in careers in law, government, and public service. So, Daniel, take it away.
Can you all hear me? All right. Hi, guys. I'm Daniel. I'm from Tallahassee, Florida. I'm a senior studying public policy and economics, film studies certificate on the side. Big thing I've taken advantage here is our student paper called Massachusetts Daily Collegian. As a freshman, I was at the Club Expo, kind of was looking for something, walked into the Collegian office, had never written anything. I'm now the editor-in-chief of the Collegian, so it worked out for me. As that, I lead, stats up there, I think, are the, I led the news section last year, so about 40 writers. Now it's a paper of about 100. We have a news team, sports team, arts team, opinion team. We do photos, we do videos, we do podcasts. We have a business team. So we're all over the place. It's like running a business, but it's also like a big public service oriented. For me, I view journalism kind of as a process of justice. The very first step, you're getting the information out there. You're allowing people to see other perspectives on issues, which I think is super, super important in today's world. Yeah, that's all. I'll kind of pin that there. I also do a huge amount of research on campus. I view journalism also as one of those things, but I work for the Institute for Social Science Research, mostly on the back end of like grant funding. So I see kind of how the research process works on a university scale. And then I've been involved now in two undergraduate research experience programs. One on policing and traffic stops. I was running quantitative data. And then the one I'm working on now is on the media salience of executive orders. And like the last 20 years, we're kind of replicating a study from the early 2000s, seeing how it holds up and kind of what can be gleaned from that as media has changed. For that, I'm running a lot of qualitative data, coding articles. It's been a lot of fun. I've done both of those with the same professor, Dr. Kelsey Schaub. She's a great all-star. Most of her work's on policing. She's really, really interesting. And I think something that's great about UMass is all the teachers really want to talk to you. If you are an interested student, there will be something for you, which is just fantastic. I've never had a problem getting like research opportunities, job opportunities on campus. So it's been really great for me. Should I say?
That's great. Thank you so much, Dan.
Hi everyone, my name is Linda Toromo. I am a senior political science major and Afro-Am minor. On top of that, I am also a peer advisor in the political science department. So many of your faces will probably be like in this realm that I'm usually at. Another thing that I'm a part of on campus is I'm part of the undergraduate council for the Afro-Am department. And there we have events and we have things to kind of cultivate community within our major, and also beyond that, anyone's always welcome. And we always try to figure out new things and new ways to connect everybody who's not connected already. Furthermore, I'm also an RA on campus, so that's also fun. It's my first year, so. And then I was also part of the SBS in DC program, which I'll be more than excited to talk about pretty soon. But yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about SBSDC, what that is and what you did?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
SBSNDC was a cohort-based program that you get to intern down there for a semester. When I was down there, worked at a fundraising firm that represented individual Democratic congressional candidates, and I was able to encounter and be part of many different conversations with very big people who you're probably all familiar with. I love that experience so much. I got to work mostly for like 40 hours each week, and then I'd also have class at the same time. It was a fun time. It was really rewarding. I got to see and have different perspectives, because coming into UMass, I kind of had a closed-minded vision of, oh, maybe when I come in, I just want to go to law school immediately after. No. Poli-Sci gave me the opportunity, and not only Poli-Sci, but SBS and DC gave me the opportunity to be surrounded with people who had my degree and also did various different things. I was in a room with lobbyists, I was in rooms with people who were in government relations, so I have a better idea of what I want to do with my career, and I'm so grateful and thankful that SBS and DC gave me that platform.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Juan Valencia Gallego. I'm a junior majoring in political science and managerial economics. Honestly, when I first came to UMass, I had no idea what the hell I wanted to do. So I just decided to join a lot of things. But two that I wish everyone to do at least once, regardless of what their path is in college, is the the SGA, Student Government Association. It's just take Washington, D.C., put it into this campus. That's basically what it is. You have your own Congress, your Senate, your student representatives, your president, trustees even. It's just a really big group of students who are in the same goal of making UMass better. You can join committees, work with faculty to decide on decisions like the financing for the university, the courses that are going to be for curriculum, or just like administration affairs and stuff like that. For example, I myself, this is my first semester as a senator, now being part of the Ways and Means Committee with my good friend Jill. We're just focusing a lot on the financing for all the student-run organizations on campus, and mostly just the financing that's going to be coming for this and the next fiscal year for the entire just student organizations on campus. And the second program that I want people to really enjoy is the SBS Shadows program. It's a program during the winter, so you get assigned to an alumni from UMass who is working somewhere around you, somewhere that is near you, or if you just want to go somewhere else, like in Boston, for example, which is what I did. You just meet people who are working different things. So I work with a policy consultant and a chief of staff winter of last year. I got to meet amazing people. I got to go into Elizabeth Warren's and Ed Markey's offices. I got to visit the Kennedy building, the federal building, the State House. I got to meet our Congressman McGovern, who represents us in the State House for the Amherst area. And you just meet a lot of people, and you get to work with them in some of the issues that they're doing. Like I got invited to go to the State House for a hearing regarding one of the projects that was going to happen in the Hyde Park area about like some construction for more residence areas. Just get the first-hand idea of what some policy is happening in the Boston area or near you that you have no idea about. But since this alumni were willing to engage with you and just connect with you to know, hey, this is what we were doing, come with us and work with us. This is such an amazing program. I cannot just like stress it enough. If you want to get first-hand experience here in Massachusetts, definitely take advantage of the SBS Shadows program.
Hi, my name is Jenalyn. I'm from Vietnam, and I'm an international student. Currently, I am a sophomore in political science, currently trying to pursue a certificate of philosophy, politics, and economy. And my current activities on campus is an SBS Pathway Peer Advisors. So I help students out with their course registrations and their class add-ons. So if you were to start a new semester at UMass, you might be working with me, as well as resume reviews. So I do resume reviews and cover letter reviews for other students who are interested in pursuing internships or other positions on campus as well. And the program that I was a part of during my first year as a freshman was the Spring 2025 LPJ, which is the Law and Policy Justice cohort, and that happens in the outer Boston area, and we got to live on the Mount Ida campus, which is another campus of UMass Amherst, and we got our transportations covered. My position was a legal intern at the Noon District Court, which is a smaller court, but other cohort members went to a variety of internships. Like we had people who worked with Senator Warren, we had others who worked with Boston Commission or Children Protection Services. And a lot of what I learned is from the community that was formed in the Mount Ida campus. I learned that I like helping people, which is why I'm doing a peer internship. Within the court system, though, we got to sit in on a lot of hearings, criminal, civil, small claims, and you really get to figure out what you want to specialize in later in life. And we got to learn about magistrate hearings, which is something that you do not get access to from the public. So if you are interested in the legal profession, I really recommend the LPJ program, since we also help connect you to other courts and other districts as well.
Hi everyone, my name is Jill Hercule and I am a third-year student here at UMass, double majoring in sociology and public policy. I am also in the 4+1 program, which is an accelerated master's program where you can earn both your master's and your bachelor's in a combined effort. I'm currently in the MPP program, which is the Master's of Public Policy. Some things that I'm involved in here on campus include being an RA, I'm a sociology peer advisor, and I'm also part of the SGA with Juan. I am the vice chair of the Ways and Means Committee, and basically it is a great way to have hands-on experience with governance. We oversee a multi-million-dollar student activities trust fund and then distribute that between 261 plus RSOs and agencies. Basically, we navigate transparency, accountability, and equity on a daily basis. Another thing that stands out that I have done here at UMass, I interned in the office of Senator Elizabeth Warren, and I did constituent services. So I essentially was the middleman between federal agencies and constituents. And it's not every day that a person calls their senator, and it's usually because they've exhausted every possible resource and are looking for help in some way. And it was really rewarding work because sometimes you were the one that was making a difference and allowing this person to receive their social security check or their next meal even. I think that through all of these experiences, I've learned that I absolutely adore working with people, and I also love navigating high pressure situations. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. We're going to open up to questions in a minute, but I just want to ask an important question because several of you mentioned UMass alums that you worked with at your internships, but in various ways were resources to you. First of all, do we have any alumni in the house here? I knew we would. I knew it. Thank you. So as you may know, the UMass alums are insanely loyal to this campus and an incredible resource to our students here. Did any of you want to talk in specific about any of the alums that have been particularly helpful to you while you were doing your internships or anything else?
While we were in DC with the program, they also first initially set up a platform for us to meet with former people who lived in DC. Former people who are part of the program who live in DC at the moment. And there I was able to connect with a lot of people. But someone who's prominently in my head, like significant, her name's Denise. She gave me advice that, I feel like coming into DC, it's a big city, and it was really hard to navigate so many different options, especially like, I like doing a lot of things and I like to be on top of everything, but she is someone who I see as a mentor. Even now, I still keep in contact with her, and she has served as a great reminder of like how far you can continuously do stuff and like, sorry, I'm kind of losing my, but overall, Janice has been a really good resource. She's someone who has continued to, advise me to push forward and seek my goals wherever I want to go. So that's someone I really appreciate. So having contact with.
The policy consultant that I shadowed in the SPS Shadows program, John Sullivan, he was such a helpful resource for me, not just in guiding me what I wanted to focus more in policy, but also meeting a lot of people who I never thought would help me in different ways. For example, when we went to visit Senator Markey's office, we spoke with some of the assistants that work in that office. Turns out that one of them, being an alumni from UMass, they participated in a program with the Honors College called the International Scholars Program. What this program offers is basically just private tutoring to help students prepare themselves to go abroad. And through this resource that I learned from this alumni, I was able to study abroad during the summer at the University of Oxford in England. And I was able to get hands-on experience with other people who were part of the program, or even within UMass right now who are teaching to get private tutoring. For example, in the ISP program, the International Scholars Program, you get private tutoring to prepare yourself for the Fulbright Scholarship and other international fellowships like the Marshall, Rhodes, Churchill, all of these fellowships to just fund your master's program abroad. And since that's one of the goals that I want to do of just focusing on foreign policy or just study abroad for my master's, it's just an amazing resource to take advantage of.
The magistrate at my court and the first assistant magistrate, they were both UMass alums, and they really gave us not special treatment, but I would like to think so, because we got to sit in on so many fun cases. But it was interesting, and it was an experience that you would never forget, being in that type of courtroom setting. And the magistrate even lets us do research and brief out cases because they don't have the time to look through all of the details on each case. So we got to be involved in the case and in the hearings that they were doing also, which really fueled our passion for the law as well as policy and all the things that were happening in our community.
Yeah, so my freshman year, I was interning in the office of Representative Lindsay Sabadosa over in Northampton. And one of the people I worked really close with was Julia Mathis, who was the legislative aide. And as a freshman, I had no idea what my path was going to look like. And she was actually the person who told me about the 4+1 program, which she happened to graduate from. She offered me so much advice, coffee chats. She's like someone I can turn to for any question regarding the program. And I would say like she's the biggest reason I'm in it today. So yeah.
This is a little more specific to collegiate, but I've met so many cool alum. We have an alumni event every year, about 40 alum, 40 students. And so last year we heard from recent grad Claire Healy, who just had 2 years ago had a giant magazine spread in the Washington Post on Indigenous bodies in the Smithsonian. Fascinating stuff. And then I talked to like 3 baseball Hall of Fame voters who graduated in the 70s, because why not? But I think there's so many people who have done things that are really, really interesting. I'm working with 2 WMUA alum, who are also UMass alum, on a documentary they're making about the John Calipari years at UMass. I've been like their contact with the Collegiate and with the University Archives, which has been really, really cool. One of them was also the first band director of Green Day. I'm not a huge Green Day guy, but that's cool. Yeah. And I think they're so willing to talk about just about anything. I've talked with all sorts of alum about like career, kind of like personal fulfillment, just literally everything. They can be so helpful.
Thank you guys. That was even better than I expected you to say. So, and just to reiterate, our alums are not just loyal to our current students and willing to be a resource at all times, but I think it's generations that our alumni And the whole campus takes very seriously our role as the flagship, as the supporter of public service in the Commonwealth. So there are UMass alums throughout public service and government, nonprofit leadership, the judiciary, not just in Massachusetts, but around the world, literally. Obviously, our focus tends to be Massachusetts, New York, and DC, but it's really pretty much everywhere. They get to take advantage, and so might you. Do you guys have any questions for our panel that we can possibly answer now? Don't be shy. Yes, sir.
So I had a quick question. So obviously DC is like the political capital of the world. So I was wondering, as you guys are studying political science and maybe you're looking for a career in diplomacy or international relations, do you feel that you're at a disadvantage in being in Massachusetts compared to students who are in DC and have opportunities such as, internship at the White House or maybe somewhere on Capitol Hill? Like, do you feel that being in Massachusetts is a disadvantage when studying diplomacy, international relations, political science, stuff like
that? 2 words, absolutely not. The pathways of what I've seen within UMass to go to DC is probably the easiest funnel I've ever seen in my entire life. I've met people who have worked in DC. They worked at Congress, the White House, even the Supreme Court even. And they're just present here all the time, where you have an easier way to just contact them immediately, to just know what to do there, for example. Like even last Thursday, I got invited to a meeting for the International Scholars Program. And it turns out it was alumni from UMass who are right now at Georgetown University to study the Masters in Foreign Affairs program, which is in partnership with DC, to just intern at the Department of State, the White House, Congress, and all the agencies that are in DC. And all these people are just there. And now we have the contact with those people. Georgetown has us in their list for like possible future students that they might consider. So the funnel to just go to DC is the easiest that I've seen here, basically.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Juan on that. One thing, I'm from Tallahassee, Florida, and one thing I was not expecting is that everyone goes to UMass. For instance, one of my professors actually for my master's program, he was the former Undersecretary of Commerce for International Trade in the Clinton administration, and he was a UMass alum and everything. I definitely sense that, like, just to give another example too, in every congressional office I've been in as well, most people have been from UMass, and everyone ends up going to DC somehow. I would say that that pathway is definitely not limited by staying in Massachusetts whatsoever. People definitely, I would say that because of the strong alum network, you're definitely going to be pushed to be going there. 1,000%.
And I'll mention too, just that, because we focused on our alumni and the opportunities that are there, I do want to mention that SBS in DC was in fact founded by one of our alumni who is now the head of government relations for NBC Universal in DC. But she wanted to make sure that there was this pathway that was strong for all of our students that they could take to get to DC, but it's just one of many. I'll mention too that our faculty is, as mentioned a little bit, our faculty are definitely international and national in quality and caliber, but also connections. Other questions?
Anything counts.
About anything.
How accessible is it to double major in, if I wanted to, I wanted to do international business and then also do the pre-law track kind of thing? How easy is it to double major in that realm with political science?
Just to get your question right, you're asking about double majoring and just in general or in particular for that major?
Kind of specifically business and because I want to go for business law and international law kind of eventually.
I'm gonna answer this question, kind of dividing it. I feel like I'm gonna get into peer advising mode.
Do it.
I'm gonna start by prefacing, I can't advise you directly without looking.
She's going to law school, you know? Right away.
Because I want to give you accurate information. I want to be able to sit down with, I would want to be able to sit down with you and like talk to you about it, but also I want to allude to our wonderful advisors. I can guide you to the political science website, I'm so sorry. But if you want to, you're able to double major easily. There's very many options here, as you know. If you're interested in meeting with our pre-law advisor to ask questions about pre-law, Diane Curtis right here, she's a advisor for pre-law, and working with business law affiliation, I feel like maybe she'd be a better resource compared to me, but for double majoring in poli-sci and anything in that realm, totally, like, you can definitely do it, like no questions asked. But like I said, I do not want to misadvise you or give you wrong information, because the last thing I want you to come back with is like a false narrative that I gave you and I graduated. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to just leave you here. But yeah.
I'll take it.
Okay.
I can take it from here. You know, Linda's especially cautious because I met her first at her orientation the summer before she started here, and she still comes back to me and says, but you said. So as the director of pre-law advising, let me tell you that there isn't a pre-law academic track here because law schools aren't looking for that. They're looking for smart, capable, engaged students regardless of major. It doesn't matter. So we have, in addition to my advising office that can help you explore paths towards the law, a wide number of career offices, not just in the College of Social and Behavioral Sciences, but in every college and school across the campus. We've got a number of very active student groups that are pre-law that want to serve as resources, at least 3 that are focused on pre-law that I can think of off the top of my head. The Pre-Law Club, the pre-law chapter of the National Black Law Students Association, and the brand new pre-law co-ed fraternity, Kappa Alpha Pi. I think I said that right. I did. I'm sorry, the Greek letters always confuse me. If the question is, can I get to law school while I'm majoring in something that's not one of these kinds of majors? 100%. This week alone, I've been working with people in finance, accounting, theater, history, certainly legal studies and political science and sociology, but also English and theater and any number of things. So, yes. Other questions?
Quick question. Have any of you taken advantage of the 5 college system, and have you found it beneficial to take a class at one of the other schools?
I don't know if this counts, but I did take a 5 college course in Swedish, but it happened to be at UMass. But it was phenomenal. I know a lot of people who do take classes elsewhere and they absolutely love it. I think that's one of the big things here, having access to Amherst College, Mount Holyoke. It's incredible. You get access to so many different kinds of professors. You create a different network of people within your classes. Overall, it's really great, and they also work with you really well, because I know transportation is also a big thing, but they have like schedules that align with everything.
I haven't done any of the classes. In my experience, I've had a lot of people from the 5 colleges in my classes here, and I don't know a lot of people who've done that. I also know a couple of professors who teach. I have a film professor who teaches ancient Greek at Smith. Great guy. The real benefit for me is just having those as open resources. I've been talking to a couple of professors at Holyoke for my thesis, and also there are a ton of cool talks you can go to. So it's for me, the benefit is more in it as a college community rather than the coursework. Because a lot of the gap that system fills is they don't have certain gen eds that they might want to take, at least in my experience.
Other questions?
Yeah, so you guys did mention government-related internships in terms of law, but like, what do internship opportunities look like for someone that's wanting to pursue like criminal law?
My internship was at the Noon District Court, which is much better if you want to focus on law and not just politics and policies. A lot of what we see is criminal law proceedings, and you will get to sit like around the bench, just listening to the way people make their case, look at how all the schedules are. If the clerk select you, you might get to be behind the clerk's table and direct everything. And before that whole thing even happens, you get access to a lot of the documentations that goes into creating any of the law schedules as well. So if you want to pursue criminal law, I think it would be very beneficial just to see how the court system works, which is why I always recommend people to apply for LPJ, because we connect you to these court systems even without anything, because Handshake doesn't have these specific roles that you might want.
Is that only your freshman year that you were there, and then you transferred to this campus?
Oh, no, I started at this campus. I started at UMass.
Oh, okay.
And then because I have enough credits, I went to Mount Ida, which is not a transfer. It's still in the UMass system, and I still take classes here online as well as on the Mount Ida campus. I just added in the internship because of the location.
Yeah, just to clarify, Mount Ida is part of UMass now. That's our campus, and it's where things like that program take place. There's a number of different internship programs where students do internships, both in law and in other things, from in the Boston area while they're residential at Mount Ida, with professors and support there on campus.
Yeah, I have I think 2 friends here who worked in public defenders' offices, which I know is like one of the best ways to get access to that sort of stuff. I've covered a lot of criminal law for the Collegian. I've covered like probably 6 or 7 arraignment hearings, and that's part of the reason why I went to law school. That sort of process. Although my interest isn't necessarily criminal law, but I think there's a lot of access to that sort of thing. I know I think, is it happening again this year, the Supreme Court?
Not the Supreme Court, the Mass Appeals Court.
Oh, Mass Appeals Court. They do a session here, and a lot of times those are on criminal cases. Those can be really, really interesting. There's a lot of opportunity, and I think if you have that interest, you can absolutely pursue it, and there will be resources for you to do that. I just can't speak from super personal experience.
I was gonna add something too. Not just that, but like the availability of alumni networks that are for these resources, but also the connections that those alumni bring to UMass. They just bring amazing people to campus most times. Like I even met an international lawyer here at UMass, who for some reason managed to get one of the justices from the International Court of Justice to come to UMass to just give a mini lecture about their involvement in like a case. It was a case Russia versus Ukraine, and it's like you get to meet a lot of people from this alumni, and I feel like we all here can agree that keeping these connections are going to bring you way beyond what you can imagine in life.
Yeah, I'll just add, so we have students regularly interning at various courts in the local area as well as throughout Massachusetts. We have a student, I just talked to somebody today, or this week, that is interning this coming semester at the Committee for Public Counsel Services, which is our public defender agency in Massachusetts. The district attorney, the local district attorney, is not content to have had interns at our office, at his offices semester after semester, but is actually teaching here this semester now. We have former judges who are teaching here regularly. So we really do have a huge presence with criminal law here, as well as alums, obviously, throughout the Commonwealth. Thank you for the question. Other questions anybody has?
You're focusing a lot on law, and I was wondering about the public service aspect of it, so working state and local. Just if you have anything to say about that.
I will say here in Amherst, it's so focused on public service. When I came here, it was actually from one of my friends from one of my classes in just public service relations that they connected me to one of the co-ed fraternities for service here in Amherst. And now we just worked a lot with representatives, for example, with the newly opened campus pantry, the Amherst Survival Center, blood drives, Gift of Life, even like the Boy Scouts Council in Springfield. We just focus a lot on helping people, and the people that you meet there are just helping you make this available for you so that you have the opportunity to do it, but also so that it's very lenient to do, so that in your schedule you always have a space to do it. And it just helps, it just works. It just works.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I've done, I did an internship after my freshman year back in Tallahassee, doing constituent services and like interdepartmental services for a county commissioner. That was great. My interest in law is also an interest of public service. I'm applying to law school for public interest law, particularly consumer protection, antitrust. And there's been a lot of, both alum to talk about and do that now, and also the classwork, a lot of that is focused on that sort of thing. In interdisciplinary, so not just like public service law. I haven't taken a class called public service law, but public service kind of as a conduit for whatever the topic may be.
There are innumerable partnerships between the campus, various groups on campus, and the local nonprofit community, which is ginormous for this area. It's kind of surprising how large it is, including the Amherst Survival Center, for example, the Boys and Girls Club, through the Boltwood Project. There's a number of different connections there. My favorite connection, because I'm connected to that organization too, is there's a big 5K charity race every December called the Hot Chocolate Run. And I think the first time I met Jill, I told her about it and I made her go do it. So, and that's a benefit for Safe Passage, which is the domestic violence agency in the local area. And I think there's at least, I want to say 25 teams from UMass that fundraise and race in that fantastic event. So I don't think the organization would make nearly as much money on that race if it weren't for UMass students being so engaged. Other questions?
So
Nothing's off. Sorry.
just to add a little something, public service is sort of a broad term and can be a little bit vague. If we're talking about public service in terms of sort of legislators and that kind of thing, our congressman for our district has offices in Northampton. Senator Warren has offices in Springfield. They offer internships and our students go there. Our local state reps who work on Beacon Hill also have offices here. A couple of them have an office on campus and they have interns as well. Jill, was it you that, intern for Lindsay Zabadosa? She's one of our local reps as well. So lots of opportunities to get involved in that way as well. And also in the local municipalities, they sometimes take interns as well. So lots of opportunities.
I can actually add to that. And several of those folks actually teach courses here too. So Congressman Neal has taught here for a long time. State Senator Joe Comerford teaches here. We've had several different mayors, city council members, other state reps who regularly teach courses here. And often those lead to additional connections when students take those classes, plus they get a lot out of that experience from those individuals.
So I was wondering if international relations is its own major or if it falls under political science.
Do you want to answer? You want me to answer? It's within political science. There's an international relations certificate. It's a 5-college certificate. But there's several international relations courses within the political science major. Questions? Yeah.
I know you mentioned the summer at Oxford, but do you guys typically study abroad?
So coming from like my sociology peer advisor perspective, study abroad is something I push onto everyone, and it's something that UMass also pushes onto everyone. I personally have studied abroad over in Sweden over summer. and it was a lot of fun. I took a course on Vikings, the world of Vikings, and we got to visit Iceland and go around Sweden looking at things like runes and stuff. But yeah, study abroad is something that I strongly encourage everyone to do and participate in. Your worldview is expanded so much. And I think it's something that everyone does at least once.
And yes, I was gonna add on too, besides like beyond outside of the political science department, like the International Scholars Program and programs like this, even with the Global Affairs Office, which is the one in charge of all these study abroad programs, they're super big. Like it took me 2 days just to see the entire catalog of which universities are we partnered with. We have partnerships in Europe, Asia, even in Africa, in Oceania, in South America, and they all vary in things from international business to law to political science to international relations to environmental science to all the majors you can think of. There's always partnerships there, and they always work. They have a set of advisors that are for these different programs. You can meet with them individually. They can help you with the process of applying to these programs. They're all with UMass, so you're not applying outside of UMass. It's always within UMass and the partnership that they have with this university. For example, for my case, for the Oxford Summer Seminar, it was super easy just having the connection with both the director of the program, who's here in UMass, who just helped us with like, okay, these are the application materials, this is the timeline, these are the scholarships. I went for free to Oxford, there was no cost for me or anything, and it's very possible for students to just study abroad, no worry about any cost on it or anything, and just have a really smooth schedule to accomplish their dreams abroad.
Honestly, I'm jealous of every student that walks into my office and says, oh yes, I'll be in Barcelona next semester. Any other questions? Anything you wanted to add there? Oh, yes?
Oh yeah, I have another question.
It's like we paid you. Keep asking.
Do you have a Model United Nations team or club here at UMass?
Dude, have any of you done it?
Yeah, we do have a Model United Nations team. I think they're gonna have a conference soon, and they have conferences with schools around the area also. I think they also do mock Model United Nations to get students interested in the format of Model United Nations, but we also have other clubs like mock trial or debate that could also be interesting for you if you are interested in MUN.
And the Model UN is also kind of overlaps with the International Relations Club. So there are two separate clubs that get melded most of the year, but are a piece of that. So let me ask the students something. What's your favorite resource on campus that nobody knows about? You wish more people knew about? I mean, especially in public service.
Public service.
It doesn't have to be.
Okay. This is gonna be really like obvious, but honestly, emails. I feel like that's something really underrated and like it's not something that we're taught in high school, which is like, okay, like it's something that we have to learn ourselves. But honestly, like when I took the time my first semester, freshman year, to actually review the emails I was being sent like all the time, I realized there were so many opportunities just sitting in there, and multiple people are just disregarding it, thinking it's just, oh, they're just spamming me, just to spam me. No, that is where everything is laid out for you. It just takes you to just show up and be there. And honestly, say yes. Say yes to everything. But yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, just to piggyback off that, office hours are the best. I know this gets shoved down people's throats now, but it's a good thing. I was in office hours last week and I had like a 2-hour conversation with my professor about narrative philosophy, and it's one of the best conversations I've ever had. And they're such good resources. And I'll also shout out, the library is fantastic. I don't know what it is, but our interlibrary loan system is so speedy. Like I get books in like 2 days. I don't know how they do that. It's the greatest. Any book you could want, you can get. So which is fantastic.
I will say also, once you get to UMass, there's a thing we have that is called Campus Pulse. Abuse that resource, please. It's just basically a website that shows you all the events that are happening on campus at the same time. Just go to those events. Like, first week that I was here as a freshman, I was like, okay, let me try out these events. And that's how I met a lot of people that I know today, like Jill, for example. I just went around, met a lot of people, and if it wasn't because I went outside of my room almost every day of the week, I wouldn't have been where I am right now.
I'm extremely biased because I would say SBS Pathways intern. Because we cover such a wide range of things that we do, we would literally sit down to have a conversation with you if you're unsure of your path or whatever you want to be doing. We connect you to those resources as well. We check out all the newsletters and we read them through. But another thing is also your TAs. I would anoint my TAs to help because they really like to help you out and they just want to have like a informal conversation. And from those informal conversations, you really do learn a lot more about the class than you think you could.
Guys, this is a hard question. There's so many amazing resources on campus. I think one that sticks out to me is my RA. I'm an RA now, but my freshman year, I remember just going up to their room, talking to them, and that's how I became friends with them. I also was connected to House Council in that way, which was my first leadership position here on campus. I recommend that if you are a freshman year to join that. It was so great. Because of that, I got to move on up. I even started running like the entire RHA. But yeah, it's really great to talk to people informally and just engage in those kinds of things. Another resource I recommend is the Writing Center. It's definitely one of those where you can connect with like a writer in the library and they will help you revise anything you're writing, whether it be an email or a cover letter or even an essay. They're just so great that they can get your papers to go up a whole letter grade. So I strongly recommend.
I'm struck by how many of your answers had to do with people.
Yeah.
It seems that's the people here, the fellow students, the staff, the faculty. I think a lot of schools talk about their faculty a lot, and you know we're proud of our faculty, but our staff is just freaking amazing. So I just the advising, the RAs, the RDs, the library, everything that they just mentioned, just incredible. Any other questions we have? Yes, up there.
Do any of you participate, or can you talk about student government?
Yeah.
There's 3 people there.
Like as I said earlier, this is my first time being a senator, but last semester I was an election commissioner, which is just like a branch. So the student government is divided into 3 sections: the legislative branch, the executive branch, and the judicial branch, just like the U.S. government is. I was an election commissioner, which is a branch out of the legislative that just handles elections in general. So I got a taste of like how elections happen in UMass, how referendums happen, like asking questions to students are going to affect them. Like last semester, there was a question about raising tuition by like 7.5% because of the student activities fee and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, I want to get more involved in this. So now I'm a senator. There's a lot of things happening. You get to meet faculty, you get to meet grad students, you get to meet even like the chancellor himself. They're always showing up, just telling you policies that they want to achieve here in the university. And you being part of student gov, you have a say into what's going to happen. And you can voice out other people who don't have access to that at the moment.
Yeah, I definitely want to just like reflect everything that Hannah said. Student governance here is so incredible. I think we're one of the most powerful SGAs, I think, within the Northeast. Is that correct? Yeah. It's really taught me a lot about how you can really make the change that you want to see and also reflect whatever your community's values are. For instance, as part of the Ways and Means Committee, one of the things that we're working on right now is actually completely undoing our entire funding processes to create more equity in the processes. It's something that you know, it's a little bit unprecedented, but it's shown us that like we can literally do whatever we want in order to better the lives of the students. Yeah, we hold Senate meetings every Wednesday from 6:30 onward. You never know when it's going to end. And you are also engaged in committees. So if you're in the legislative branch as a senator, You're going to be within academic oversight, academic affairs, ways and means, UROC, and
Outreach and development.
outreach and development. So there's a wide variety of things that you can select from depending on your interests and like what you choose to, what you want to do to represent the student body. I really do think that it reflects what actual governance looks like, and it's an incredible experience. Again, you get to engage with a ton of faculty and also engage with your students on a day-to-day basis and do really, really great work.
Yeah, just a little humble plug here. If you're not interested in being an SGA, but you're interested in SGA, I highly, highly recommend writing about SGA for the Collegian. I did that for 3 years. One of the greatest experiences of my life. Had a lot of fun with it. So highly recommend that.
And I'll mention one thing else that SGA does that I think is unique to UMass, which is for 50 years now, the Student Government Association has funded a legal office here on campus to represent students in a wide variety of different matters. It's entirely student funded by their student fees, and the SGA is who administers those fees. The number one thing that this legal office does, the number one category of cases, which is going to surprise, especially the UMass alums, but is lease review when students move off campus. So they've got somebody there free to review their lease, to make sure that everything's copacetic, and to advise them when it's not. So having the two, soon to be 3 lawyers on campus to represent students and to advise them whenever they have questions of a legal nature that's free. Honestly, I didn't appreciate it until my kid went to another school and it wasn't there. And I was like, what do you mean? And they also offer an internship. So 6 students a semester get a chance to intern full-time in that office right here on campus to help advise and represent their peers. I think we have time for maybe 1 or 2 more questions, if anybody has something.
Last one, I promise.
No, keep going. I love it.
So, for students who see a career in maybe in the foreign service, like the Department of State, you guys offer a foreign language learning department or center here at UMass?
So we offer a number of different foreign languages. I don't think we have a foreign language center. Now I'm looking at my colleagues for that because it's outside my bailiwick. But I know that there's an incredibly wide range of languages that students do take either here or within the 5 colleges. And in certain colleges required to take a certain number of them. There's a global, this is a little adjacent to your question, but there's a global studies requirement in most colleges and schools within the university to take additional courses so that it's not just about language, but also about culture and history. But I couldn't, we don't know. We have a foreign language center.
Well, there's the 5 college one, like where they have like they don't necessarily, it's not like they're not like for college credits, that sort of thing, but you can learn the language.
Yes.
So there's that part too.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of anybody wanting to learn a particular language not being able to within the 5 colleges. Is that true? Yes. So, good question though. Thank you.
I will say also from the resource that I learned of the alumni that are at Georgetown for the Masters in Foreign Service, they explained to us that even for language requirements, they're super lenient with it. Like right now, if your schedule doesn't allow us to learn a language, they allow for these programs that you enter with just learning the basics of a language, but then they help you throughout the entire process to just make you expert in these languages in such a short amount of time. It might be intensive for some people, but knowing that these programs and the alumni are very helpful in telling you, hey, even if you don't have the opportunity to do it right now, you can learn these languages to go into the foreign service prepared and just well diverse into those, not just language, but the culture, customs, and everything related to those languages.
So we definitely have alums who are working in the Foreign Service and for the State Department. A couple that I know of happen to go through the SBS in DC program, and maybe worked a little while before they went to work for the State Department, but it is definitely a possibility if you come here.
All right, I think that's it. Whoops. We'll just keep, fooling each other this way. I think that's about it, unless anybody's got some last questions. Seems not. Well, we'll be down here. I want to say thank you so much to our panelists for coming. And thank you to all of you for being here. And we'll stay down here for, if you have a few more questions, we'll be here for at least a few minutes.